Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's, or at least this week's, Loose Cage SAISD Scholar Athlete of the Week. My name is Chad Miller, and who I am with me is a guy who I've talked to multiple times throughout the last 6 months alone, is Mr. Braylon White with the Lakeview High School Chiefs. Of course, was a receiver, technically a defensive back, but mainly played receiver on the football team and served as a guard on the basketball team. Braylon, first and foremost, thank you for joining me today, and congratulations on the award.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And so, obviously, I know there's many things here that we talked about previously, so we're going to kind of rehash some of those things we talked about. So first, scholar athlete, SAISD loves to put that scholar first. Let's just talk about school first. Obviously, a senior. And of course, to winding down your last few months of high school, kind of talking through this semester as a whole, how our class is going, what are you seeing from your teachers, and all that fun stuff.
Man, it's been a lot this year. Teachers are great. Grades are even better.
Hey, that's important.
Yeah, grades are important. It's just been a ride. Going these 4 years. Just at Lakeview, it's just been a blessing and just all the stuff I'm able to learn and just able to get in my head and just be able to carry out forward, throughout out on the life and stuff like that. So.
Walk me through, of course, staying on the more student route, kind of walk me through some of your classes as a whole, and also just talk to me about, is there any specific favorite ones, any favorite teachers? What's that looking like?
Man. Let's see, I don't really have a lot of classes this year, kind of like.
We're doing a lot of college prep, or are you still kind of sticking with just normal high school classes?
Kind of sticking with normal classes, I got government and stuff, was it English?
Mm-hmm.
Welding. I actually like welding.
Welding. There you go. Little life trade, little life skill right there.
Shout out to my teacher, Miss Gray. I like her a lot. She's a good teacher in my opinion.
That's fantastic, man. Yeah. Fantastic. Obviously, we'll get into the future of academics here in just a moment. So let's just kind of jump into the athlete side of things. Obviously, probably a pretty historic year for Lakeview in terms of the sports you've been a part of. Of course, one of the winningest seasons in the last 15, 20 years in terms of Lakeview football. Of course, making it, finished a little bit shy of the district title, went to the playoffs. And then, of course, same with basketball. Of course, another very successful season under Coach Blitzky. And then, of course, unfortunately, just didn't have the ending that y'all maybe anticipated. Just walk me through this season. Let's start with football. Let's hear your overall thoughts from that. Of course, you mentioned 7-3 in the regular season. Obviously, really got a lot of revenge early on throughout that season as a whole, especially after that junior year last year. So kind of walk me through football at first.
Football, man, it's like you said, it was probably the best season we had in decades. It's we're the first time we're 4-0 and how many years, and it's having a winning season like that kind of flip people's minds, saying, oh wait, Lakeview is really like that now.
Mm-hmm.
It's instead of them talking down on us, people it's been really good. Coaches are good. Teammates even better. Love being on my guys. Love this year, even last year and years before and stuff like that. So it was just a good year for us on football side.
Mm-hmm. So. And then of course basketball, as we already mentioned. Competed very hard all throughout the year. Pretty much finished 7-3 in district, or whatever the number was. Of course, regardless, had a couple tough ones with the top of the district standings, of course. But then everybody else, y'all basically took care of business the rest of the way when it came to district play. Kind of walk me through your basketball season. I know, of course, yesterday wasn't the most fun game for you in your high school playing career, but nonetheless, walk me through the season.
The season was, good, just as good as football, man. But like you said, we kind of came up short. It's not what we wanted, but overall, I feel like this season we kind of proved a point like we did in football. But and teammates was good too. Had outstanding teammates, good help, Trace Woods, Andrew Young, Isaac Torres. You know what I'm saying? Christian Esparza, all of them.
Bunch of guys.
Nick Leva. Oh yeah, all my teammates were I wouldn't trade the world from them. There's good. Coach Blitzky, Coach Arnold, Coach Rowers, my coaches. They're just good, man. And, it's just kind of like I said about football, all these years, people have been doubting us and stuff like that. And having, much more winning, much more talent this year we had in the past about 3 years, and us improving every year, it's just good. It's just good for the north side. And, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Northside Pride. I know they're very happy of you, very proud of y'all in that regard. I talked to many parents, most of which I don't even know. Of course, I've talked to Chris Alviso's dad. He's one of the main people who come up to us during the broadcast, or at least prior to the shows. Want to just, I'm always happy to have our coverage with y'all. So I know we had a blast. I certainly had a blast covering y'all this year as a whole. So obviously, one thing I noticed a lot, and of course, I'm sure y'all saw the writing on the wall as well, well, just the amount of seniors they all had on both teams. Of course, with football, I know it's a little bit easier to replenish football just because you have the JV teams. You do have a lot of younger guys. Of course, one of them being Alviso, of course, was only a junior. I know he's not exactly younger, but you have a lot of talent that are still returning on football. With basketball, it's kind of a little bit different side. Outside of Andrew Young, I know there's a couple other guys there, but 8 seniors on that basketball team. Of course, all y'all are on senior day against Big Spring a couple weeks ago. Kind of to walk me through maybe that process. Was there any message that y'all had maybe as seniors, maybe for yourself, that you kind of told some of those younger guys who are still on the team, that will be on the team next year, and then some of those JV guys coming up?
Like I told, Andrew yesterday after we lost our game, what I'm saying? I told him to make a name for yourself, what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be given to, you got to work for everything. Like, Coach Blitzky, he's a good coach. He's not going to just hand you just because, because you're Andrew. Like, you got to work. You got to work for what you want, for real, what I'm saying? I just told him, make a name for yourself and make him remember your name too. Like leave your mark at Lakeview. And, I just feel like that's what all the underclassmen need to realize. Like, they just need to make their mark and leave their name and leave a legacy at Lakeview. So just make them work hard and just strive for greatness.
Fantastic. Yeah. Wise words there from a senior. So, with all that being said, what's next for Braylon White? Obviously, you've got 2 very good paths in front of you. Of course, you have a little bit of history with track and field as well, but I'm sure you kind of between, is it football, basketball? What are we thinking? What do we want to major in the future? What schools we looking at? What's that idea over in Braylon White's head?
Really, man, I'm just, my options, it's clear-headed for me. It's going to football.
Yeah.
I love basketball. I love basketball so much. It's but I just feel like football, it's calling my name in the future.
Are you trying to stay as a receiver, go the DB route? What are we thinking?
Receiver for sure. I'm able to catch passes and stuff. So, yeah.
You caught a lot of them for Chris last season, so no surprise there. What's obviously, I know you may not want to be able to spill all too much for out there, but are we looking at options? We got any takers so far? Or are we just kind of seeing what it works out? Maybe take that walk-on option.
I'm just keeping my mind open. Still going on visits here and there and stuff. So just still I know time's ticking, but eventually I'm gonna have to come up with a decision soon. But I'm just still keeping my mind open and see what comes up. But eventually I will make a decision and commit somewhere.
I'm sure that's the case. Regardless of wherever you end up going, is there maybe a certain path in terms of these studies? If you go a little bit back to that scholar side of things, is there a certain thing you want to study, major in, or are you kind of just taking it as based on what school you go to and what they're offering?
Along with what they're offering and stuff like that, it's it's sports medicine is one of my options, or either business. I'm trying to get into that real estate career.
Okay.
After football, after college and stuff like that, to continue on with my journey in life. So it's kind of on the business side for me.
I love we started with kind of some sports medicine, then also business. nice little mix of things as a whole. Obviously it's kind of an interesting dilemma. I know, of course, me personally, I didn't play any sports in college, but I know for me, whenever I was making my decision to go to school, I know some of the things for me was actually distance from home, because I wanted a chance to be able to expand and be able to learn life by myself. What are some of those things that, of course, that's just an example of things, but what is it for you? Are you wanting to stay closer to home? Are you wanting to expand? What are some of these? And of course, I know some of these visits are football related, but what are you looking for when it comes to your ideal landing spot for college?
I wouldn't say I want to leave home, but I feel like for me, for my decision making, I would want to leave the 325. I want to leave San Angelo and go somewhere far, not too far. Go somewhere far, but and just try to make my name up there and see how it goes. I'm not saying it's gonna 100% work out, but I'm just we're just gonna see how it goes and see how it goes my way and stuff. So.
Hey, nothing wrong with that at all. Because of course, you still got to be able to come back home to the family. That was kind of the same thing for me, as I mentioned. Like I came from Austin originally, so for me going from the 512, as I'm going to go shout out area codes, to the 325, 4-hour difference basically.
Right,
so it was just enough to where like my family could realistically come see me, but it wasn't far. It was not close enough to where my mom could just randomly show up. Well, obviously, I know I asked you this question, and I think we're going to end with this because I feel like it's important for a senior such as yourself to be able to put yourself and be able to give the recognition where it's due. I asked you this in the fall, and it maybe changed, maybe it hasn't. But who is your biggest inspiration and why? And of course, it doesn't have to even be as a player. It could simply be just being as a person, whatever that may be. Who is your biggest inspiration? Or maybe inspirations, put an S on their plural, and why?
My biggest inspiration would probably be my father.
Yeah.
Tavor, yeah.
Is there any, like, what does he do? What are the things that he does that kind of just inspires you to be the young man you are today?
He's tough, real tough on me. He's real, it's like real hard on me, and like it's just I'm glad that he is on me though. Like I'm glad he's hard on me on a lot of stuff. It's gonna make me into the person I'm going to be, and it's gonna be, it's just a blessing to know how much good of a father he is, to me and my brother. And it's just like there's not a lot of dads like that out there. There's not a lot of dads out there that will push their kids like mine would, and it's just so good for my dad to be that way, as he like how hard he is, like as he is on us. It's just knowing that it hurts sometimes. Sometimes having bad games, it's a little rough on the coming home.
Oh yeah. I know that all too well.
Like all that, just taking all that in, and just using it as fuel and just using it to get better, and just taking wise words from a wise man. It's grateful to have a dad like him, and that's my inspiration. Is my father.
Fantastic. Wise, definitely a wise choice for the wise man. I know. That's definitely very similar in that boat, so I completely agree. Well, Braylon, if this is the last time I talk to you after these last year and a half, it's been a great pleasure getting to know you throughout all this time. Braylon White, your SAISD loose cage, or I guess let me actually put it the correct way, your loose cage SAISD Scholar Athlete of the Week.